Hey gang, Crystal Grace here. Welcome to this pick a card reading, which is all about how are you currently being viewed. So we have three piles to choose from. Pile 1, we have card 23, Beyond Pleasure. Pile number 2, we have card 19, Beyond Emotions. And pile number 3, we have card 12, Wise Action. So quick disclaimer, while you are connecting with one of these cards is if the reading begins to trigger you in any way, or maybe it just doesn't seem to resonate, please trust that I do not sit here and conjure negative energies or entities to ruin your day, evening, or night. So either consider picking another pile or just click off. And so with that said, let's get into it. Let's find out, how are you currently being viewed? Pile 1, Beyond Pleasure. Welcome to your reading. I went ahead and pulled some crystal cards. We have intuition, we have release, we've also got balance. I kind of feel like for you who have picked this pile, like something might be currently going around and around in circles in your head, or you're currently going around and around in circles in your head. So you could be very much infatuated with somebody sort of slid into your DMs. Maybe you've recently found a new crush. So that could be the indication as to this person is like constantly on your mind. For others of you, this is somebody else is feeling that energy about you. And then the other energy I get from this Beyond Pleasure is like majority of you have picked this pile is you are actually looking for something beyond pleasure. So maybe you're at a point in your life where, you know, you're not you're not interested in boyfriends or girlfriends. You're actually looking for a long-term committed relationship. So maybe you've had to release things that you got, you know, maybe stuck on in a very unhealthy manner. And maybe your intuition has been trying to guide you in order to release things that are like bogging you down mentally in order to bring balance back into your life. You could be shamans is another thing I'm picking up here with the shaman stone of balance. But I definitely feel like for a lot of you definitely have something playing on your mind. Your intuition is asking you to release it in order to restore balance within you. Because if we're very fixated and infatuated in someone or something, it totally fucking hinders our whole life. Like you can't think about anything else but this person or like the situation, and it's really toxic for us. Like it actually will deplete our energy. It depletes our interest in wanting to do anything else other than sit around, focusing on that. So, unhealthy habits would be constantly engaging in, pick a card readings on YouTube. I definitely went through a phase like, probably 10 years ago or something where I was like fully fixated. Even to probably up until 5 years ago, to be honest, like if somebody came into my life, and it's only probably over in the last couple of years where I don't do that. Like if you need to pull, and I'm a big believer, if you need to pull cards to confirm your intuition, that person is not normally part of your destiny long term. So if that resonates, awesome. Let's get into it. Let's find out how you are currently being viewed. Pile number 1. No reversals. Alrighty, so on the bottom of the deck we have Page of Pentacles. We've also got the Page of Cups, the King of Wands, the Six of Pentacles, and the Magician. So a quick call out on sign placements because I know you guys love your signs. So obviously we've got Earth, we've got water, so all signs can be considered there. Specifically when it comes to the Magician, depending how you look at astrological sign placements, you can consider Taurus, Libra, Mercury, Gemini, Virgo. Your King of Wands, you can consider Scorpio and Sagittarius. And then we've got, again, a strong Taurus with the Six of Pentacles. So how are you being viewed? I kind of feel like the overall energy I have of this page of Pentacles is like you're very like well put together is how you're currently being viewed. Like you're well dressed, your skincare's on point, your hair's on point. I feel like if you're putting any energy towards a hobby or anything like that, people are viewing you as somebody who is very like precise or maybe persistent in something that you are currently pursuing because you see an opportunity in maybe some kind of hobby or employment here. But this person definitely gives me or oozes confidence, but her shoes look amazing as well. So I feel like people view you as somebody who takes a lot of care for themselves and how they present themselves to the world. She also has this energy about her like, are you seriously going to come, like, don't step to me kind of energy unless like you step correct. And again, that sort of ties back into this beyond pleasure energy I was picking up. Like you're done with like mainstream relationships, mainstream energies. You are looking for a very niche, unique, very pleasant connection with maybe somebody romantically, or even it can come down to friendships as well. But you look like somebody who could wrestle as well. For some of you, you could be viewed as somebody who, does a bit of wrestling. I don't know if that's metaphorically or if that is physically, but people are viewing you as somebody who is quite maybe masculine, maybe more operating from their masculine energy as well here with this page of Pentacles. But you definitely look well looked after, like you're a person who takes pride in their appearance is definitely how you're being viewed at this time. Now we've got this Page of Cups sipping on a coconut at the beach, right? So she is in a two-piece swimmer, and naturally when I see people in two-piece swimmers, I naturally straight away would think that they're very comfortable and confident in their own skin. So I definitely feel like people are viewing you, pole one, as somebody who's very comfortable and confident with who you are. Like it doesn't necessarily mean you're comfortable and confident with your body and you're running around in a two-piece swimmer. I just kind of feel like you're being viewed as somebody who is very confident and comfortable within themselves. She's also alone at the beach with a crab. So we could have strong Cancerian energies here. Obviously, Cancerians are crabs. But I kind of feel like you're being viewed as somebody who doesn't mind being alone. And maybe even here with the Six of Pentacles, the only time you seem to be around people is when you're giving your actual time and energy to them. Like you're not a person who wastes time hanging out or socializing with people because you don't like being alone. I think you have a lot of different unique hobbies here. I think you could play the guitar. You could, I don't know, you could grow plants and sell them. You could do magic. You could do witchy woo-woo stuff. You could do tarot. But I feel like somebody plays the tambourine is what I'm hearing, or those maracas, those things I'm hearing. That's so weird. So you are definitely a person who's viewed as somebody who likes to spend time alone, because when you are spending that time alone, you're actually doing productive stuff. You're a very productive person. And you might not think, you might think, productive, I've been sitting on the lounge watching Love Island. Like, but I think, you could be going through a moment where you are trying to restore balance and you are trying to release something, or your intuition is telling you to rest more as well here. So, we can't be busy all the time, especially if we are trying to like debunk something from our mind or release something that has like been attached to us. Because if you do energy cleansing, it's not going to happen overnight for something to detach itself. It can happen very slowly as well. well. But yeah, people may view you as somebody who's quite emotional here with this Page of Cups. They could view you as somebody who's very emotionally mature for their age, or somebody who is emotionally immature for their age, because that does correlate with the Page of Cups. But, she's just sipping on her coconut, maybe pina colada for some of you is one of your favorite drinks, or mojito or something like that, cocktails. But yeah, I think people view you as somebody that might be very much protecting their emotional well-being at the moment. You could be very selective with, who you're sharing your time with. And as I say that, I see this little rose on the fountain here. So I definitely feel like people view you as somebody who's very selective, again, with who you fall in love with or who you allow to step towards you romantically as well. I think this King of Wands, tells me people could be viewing you as somebody that they want to serenade. I was going to say serenade. I feel like you have people around you who are very romantically interested in you, but because you're off in your own lane, maybe focusing on your own, goals and life path, that you're actually quite oblivious to the people around you who you've caught their attention. But the King of Wands is a very creative individual. They're a leader. They're very bold. They're very charismatic. But they are people who tend to be in a relationship. So maybe people view you as somebody who is already spoken for, who is in a long-term relationship. You're not a person who probably talks about their private life. So this is very easy for people to assume this. You may act like you're in a relationship, or people could be viewing you as somebody who seems like they're in a relationship because they could be making advances at you, and you're sitting in this energy like, are you seriously coming towards me with that? So yeah, I think you do have a lot of suitors around you, because there's a lot of court cards, even just flicking through that deck at the top. So what else about the King of Wands? I don't know, maybe this won't resonate for all of you, I'm hearing, but I kind of feel like you could be being viewed as, like, I don't know, a little bit of a man-eater, a little bit of a womanizer here. And I think that would be coming from, like, people who are naturally just jealous of watching you get all the attention, right? King of Wands energy are the kind of people, because they look, most part, they are very charismatic intentionally, but I don't think you're out there like trying to flirt or be charismatic. I think you're just naturally charismatic, right? So because of that, people who do not know you would just naturally think, oh, like you're intentionally flirting with their man or their woman, something along the lines of that. But I definitely feel like you're viewed as somebody who has made a lot of daring decisions in life, and it's actually worked out for your benefit. You could be a person who's viewed as very generous because of these daring decisions have resulted in, financial abundance or just some form of abundance, right? You're definitely viewed as somebody who's very motivated and action orientated, but successful and respected is what I'm hearing. So I think people just look at you and naturally just respect you. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's plenty of people who look at you and disrespect you, because when you shine the way you do shine, pile one, you're going to always have haters and people who are like, get away from my man or get away from my woman, that kind of thing. But it is a card that will talk about somebody being a visionary, right? And trusting in their visions and trusting in their intuition that basically moves you towards success, right? I think it's taken a long time for you guys to acquire respect and trust with the people around you, like to actually believe in your intelligence as well. But I definitely feel you're viewed as somebody who is very bold, very out there, and very intelligent as well. I do see the King of Swords in my third eye. So the Six of Pentacles, we've got a couple of people who, what's that? I don't really know what he's holding there. It kind of looks like another plant or something. It kind of even looks like a money bag to me, like a fabric money bag, taking coins. But I don't know. I definitely feel like this very generous energy of the Six of Pentacles, and I don't see any breadcrumbing happening in this card. And maybe that could be it. You could be viewed as somebody who can't be breadcrumbed anymore because you're actually just too busy. You're very generous with your time and who you who you choose to support. And I feel like you're being viewed as somebody that isn't easy to breadcrumb anymore, like because you're naturally just too busy for it. Or those people who used to breadcrumb you with time and energy, what they've realized is like you're off focusing on things that, you know, feed your soul or feed your bank account, whatever it may be, that you don't feel their breadcrumbs anymore. I feel like a lot of you have dealt with a lot of manipulation and people trying to like use you because they know you think so much, or maybe they know that you think in this way. So naturally, when people understand that you're a good person and you get fixated or hyperfixated on a thought or an event or a situation, they can actually fuel that and keep you on that thought process or that cycle for a lot longer. And it's sad to think there are people like that in the world, but there are. And then I love we've got the Witchy Woo Woo card coming out. Obviously, there's a couple in the deck, but this one definitely screams witchy woo woo. What's that? That is a knife. Look, I definitely feel like people, based off the imagery of this card, like there's something to do with a bell. Maybe you've been ringing a bell. Like, I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes you wonder if, yeah, I'm going to move on from that because I don't know how to explain that. But, in a timely manner. But like we have a cauldron here. So people definitely think like you're at home doing spell works or you're a person who engages in spell works. Ghosts as well here is sort of vibing like from the steam of the cauldron. But I don't know. I think you're being viewed as somebody who is heavily into witchcraft, 100%. You're definitely a person who leans on spirituality in order to bring manifestations to this realm or to light. You're a fortune teller here. You're a card reader, so to speak. But I can't remember what, like a pentagon, I don't know if that's the right word, but this thing on the ground tells me people view you as somebody who's very spiritually protected, possibly by witches. And it could be the fact that they view you in this light because they actually have tried to come for you before. They have tried to rattle your cage. I see a bird cage in my third eye for some reason. It's weird. So you could have felt very trapped or people could have been trying to trap you a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I think the Magician coming out telling us how are people viewing you as somebody who is quite magical and like you're very spiritual and it works for you. Like these people have probably tried to do magic, have probably tried to do some of the things that they're aware you do and nothing happens. And it's not to say that they're not have access like you do, but I think when the Magician comes out, it really highlights like your power, right? And you are very powerful when it comes to manifestations. And the reason why you are gifted with that pile one is because you're not going to use it for the wrong reasons, right? You're going to use it for the right reasons. So I think that's a beautiful energy. I think that's a pretty good reading as well for you guys. Let me know down in the comments. Leave a little, I don't know, leave a little pumpkin because I know we're out of October, but still pumpkins are nice. And we love orange or a rose. You could even do a rose. But sending much love and light to you at this time. If you are looking for a personal reading, head over to my Etsy store. It is currently open, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hey, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. So I went ahead and pulled some crystal cards. We have Beyond Emotions is the card that you picked. We have Breakthrough, we've got Cleansing, and we've got Love. You could be like in a state of like, I'm going to say emotional turmoil, or you were in a state of emotional turmoil, something along the lines of that. But maybe you've recently had a breakthrough because you've been focusing on cleansing. And it obviously has something to do with love, with the love card coming out, right? So when I think about emotions, naturally it's matters of the heart. So maybe it's been like, for some of you, a very volatile time at this point, and I'm sorry if that does resonate. I feel like there's this weird energy shift at the moment. Like I feel like a lot of people's emotions are all over the place. Like I went to a party, like an anniversary party on the weekend for my friends, and like I haven't seen some of those friends for so long. Like it was like the catch up with them wasn't high vibrational because all of them have been going through a lot of like dark things. So as amazing as it was to like catch up with my friends and like partially they've turned family, right? After 20 years, you would call friends family, but like it made me very sick afterwards. And it could have been hay fever and stuff like that, but I got super sick. And it makes me wonder, like, something to do with energy and emotions as well. So maybe for some of you, you realize like you acquire other people's emotions and emotional energy, or you absorb it. It's probably a better way of explaining it, more than what you've realized. So maybe you've recently had a breakthrough that you do need to spend more time on cleansing your energy, especially around people that you love, right? Normally when I go on random tangents, it has something to do with some similarity. And even me doing this reading now, I'm like, maybe this is a reading for myself. Like I can never sit down and read my cards for myself. And sometimes when I do collective readings, I feel like there's a message coming through from my higher self to me very easily. So even just saying that to you guys makes me think, well, I could totally do that after the weekend. But we've got beyond emotions here. So energetically, or the download I'm sort of getting here is something to do with logic, right? There's got to, maybe you've recently had a breakthrough, like maybe it's not about cleansing your emotions. Maybe it's about cleansing the like logic, like your mind, your spiritual chakras as well. Like maybe it's not just about the energy around you. Maybe you have to go more advanced, more in depth with the cleansing in order for the cleansing to work properly. Like you may only thinking that you need to cleanse one thing, like a home, right? But you actually have to fully cleanse your body. So for some of you, it could be the fact that when you cleanse your home, you need to actually cleanse your body. So that's sitting out in the sun for a minute, but it could also be like sitting in the shower for 20 minutes or having a bath, that sort of cleansing. Being in a pool of water is what I'm hearing. I think you already have a lot of different ideas. I think there's a lot going on in this pile, but for others of you, if you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, I feel like there is obviously some kind of breakthrough that's happened surrounding love, probably love for yourself because of cleansing, like you're clearing out the old you and inviting the new you. So I definitely see the death card in my third eye and like transformation. I see a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. I think that's quite a beautiful imagery, but maybe you've realized like in order to bring in like that ultimate love relationship or invite more love into your life, you actually need to cleanse your energy. You need to cleanse yourself first. Some of you have an overactive heart chakra, whilst others of you have an inactive. So definitely look at different frequency meditations you can listen to through YouTube. There's so many looking for overactive or underactive heart chakra. But yeah, I think for others of you, maybe you're on the brink of a breakthrough, right? And it's because there's some kind of cleansing happening with you. You may not even realize your spirit team could be actually working behind closed doors, cleansing you in order for a great love to come in. And when I say great love, I mean like the kind of love that don't think exists. I definitely feel a very strong romantic energy with this pile. I feel like big things are going to happen for you, like big emotional things, but like a big blessing is what I'm hearing. So I know that's not what this reading is about, but that is just a side note or a message specifically for you. So that resonates. Let's get into it. And that's something that you're going to feel coming, right? So let's see how pile 2 is currently being viewed. Too many. the bottom of the deck, we've got Judgment. So I might just move this over a bit so you can see that. Just a quick call out for the sign placements. Obviously, we have I think it's Scorpio with Judgment. It's interesting imagery. Like people in boats and people flying around in the sky. Like ancestral stuff going on. Look at all the different people from different eras. Okay, we'll get into that in a sec. But yeah, so obviously strong Scorpio energy with Judgment. We've got Sagittarius energy. We've also got Leo. Definitely strong Leo. You could have Saturn in Leo, Jupiter in Leo. And then we've got Pisces and Aquarius. Now, you don't necessarily have to be those signs. Just take it as it resonates. So what's going on here? How are you being viewed? I definitely feel like you're being viewed as somebody who's like very multicultural, like you're somebody who's very different. I think you have a lot of different beliefs about different like cultures as well. I think you're kind of like an open borders sort of person, especially with everything going on in the world today. And I think it's such a controversial topic, right? Because, well, I'm not going to get into it because it's not what this channel is, it's not what this reading is about. I should say it's not what this channel is about, but people only know what they know, right? And people who believe in open borders only know what they know to have that belief or to have that opinion. And then you've got those other people who are like, shut all the borders, and they only know what they know, and that is why they have their beliefs and their opinions, right? So that's all of where I'm going to leave it. We do have bats here. You know what I kind of feel like we've got, I don't know if that's like pomegranate on the ground here, but I kind of feel like for some of you, people could be viewing you as somebody, I don't know, you've got a lot of skeletons in your closet is what I'm hearing. Like they could be viewing you as somebody who has a lot of different opinions about life, about the universe is also another thing I'm picking up. Like you're a person who could be quite knowledgeable on history, like past, present, and future, like when it comes to like sociology or like social constructs or societal groups, something along the lines of that. But you know a lot about, like, I don't know, dark history is what I feel, or people view you as somebody who could have a very dark energy or dark like vibe about you. I need to Google the thing about bats, so I'm going to pause it because I feel like that's what I'm being guided to do. Alrighty, so I pulled it up and it's got bats symbolize rebirth and transformation. So that is that like energy of the rebirth, right? Yeah, so people might view you as somebody who has a strong ability to navigate through like dark situations. People might be viewing you as somebody who's currently going through like a dark night of the soul or like going through some kind of judgment day at the moment. So something around you is happening really like harsh, and I really hope everyone is safe at this time. Obviously, there's a lot going on across the world, and depending where you are, like shit's hitting the fan, right? So for some of you, I feel like that is the kind of energy coming through there, and I do hope you're as safe as you possibly could be. For others of you, I think with this bat energy, like it's your psychic abilities or your connection to the spirit world, right? There's like all different generational, like ancestral, like lineage here, so I kind of feel like you're being viewed. I don't know if this is like you're being viewed by people who think this of you. So these people who have this perception of you are people who believe in whatever, like believe in ancestral, like trauma, ancestral lineage. But I think with the bats, I was not aware bats were heavily linked with spiritual abilities. So I definitely feel like you're being viewed as somebody who has a lot of spiritual abilities, and maybe you're being viewed by your ancestors that you're actually not tapping into those spiritual abilities to your full potential. I think this group is a very powerful group. I think you're very, very tapped in, and if you're not there yet, you will have that breakthrough. I think you're going through a dark night of the soul. I think you're going through some kind of cleansing, and again, that transformation, right? So you're going to start seeing habits disappear and new habits coming in. And I definitely feel like for a lot of you who have picked this pile, your ancestors are working double time behind closed doors. That would be the spirit realm. Not a closed door per se, but you're being viewed as somebody who is ready to step into the light. Like you're being ready as somebody who's ready to take control and level up spiritually. So I kind of feel like this might even be more of a spiritual message for you guys as opposed to people around you, but I will try and keep it 3D. But that could be a side note. Okay, we have the 8 of Wands. We've got the 5 of Wands, and 6 of Wands. So a lot of fiery energy here. And then obviously the beautiful King of Cups. So 8 of Wands, how people are viewing you, right? I don't know. I think that last spiritual message we're going to leave it there with the Judgment, because 8 of Wands not picking up 5D energy. I definitely pick up 3D. I think people are viewing you as somebody who's moving very rapidly towards life goals, life decisions, right? You're a person who, once you've made up your mind, you take action, you move really quickly. Like, if pile 2 is interested or not. If pile 2 is keen to communicate. You're either open for communication or you're not open for communication. I think people naturally view you as somebody who's a good conversationist as well. You're a person, again, you know a lot about different stuff. You can talk to anybody about anything. I don't think anyone views you as somebody that is boring. I don't think you're viewed as somebody that hasn't got a lot to say. I think you know a lot about different things, and people naturally find you very interesting. I think people tend to gravitate towards you to have conversations with you, probably spiritual ones, but I also think you have a lot of knowledge around maybe wealth, some form of disciplinary, whatever that may be. It could be education in some field, it could be like finance, it could be banking, something along the lines of that. But people view you as somebody who acts quickly. You're never late. You're a person who's viewed as always on time as well, is what I'm hearing. I also kind of see swords here, and I kind of feel like I do see the Queen of Swords in my third eye. You could be viewed as somebody who's a little direct and not cutthroat in a bad way, but you just kind of tell it how it is. It's like, if you have a very strong belief about a social injustice, you will be like, that's wrong, and then case closed. So, I think I'm going to give the analogy because I see the horse here. So here in Australia, we've just had Melbourne Cup. And my understanding, or what I've been seeing, I know it's not a black and white. It's a very controversial topic in regards to obviously animal abuse. And, the people who are into horse racing, they have their arguments, and the people who are against it, they have their arguments. I see more with those guys. And the reason why that is because when I was at uni, the uni teacher showed us all these horse graves and stuff, and that naturally affected me emotionally, right? Because I feel very drawn to animals. And the other aspect of it is, in order to get those horses moving and racing, they're getting whipped, right? Fucking whipped. And so my, I guess, how would I put it? My rationalization of it, why I think it's wrong, is, if you didn't whip the horse, wouldn't be doing it, right? So we're not allowed to whip each other to I work with some pretty lazy people. Am I allowed to whip out the whip and whip them so they go faster and get the job done? No, because that's wrong. So that is how I rationalize my opinion. I'm like, well, you shouldn't have to whip something to do it. I could understand if it just wanted to do it and it ran, sure, but the whole whipping thing just throws it off for me. So I kind of feel like Don't know why I went on that tangent. And maybe there is some of you in the audience who you're on the other side of this topic where like you don't believe there's anything wrong with it. Look, I've got friends who go to horse cup races, whatever, and I've got friends who don't. I think the moral of my thing, maybe what the moral is like, although you're very cutthroat, maybe very opinionated, like me, I'm not going to like tell somebody I don't want to be friends with them because they truly believe from their factual knowledge or whatever that it's not the wrong thing. Does that make sense? So I think you're very fair and just, like the Queen of Swords, very direct, very opinionated, but at the same time, you're fair and just. Like if somebody can sit there and go, well, these are my arguments as to why I believe what I believe, or these are the facts and the figures why I have, my beliefs and my opinions, then you're like, cool. But if somebody sits there and they're like, and they can't give you a like strong argument as to why they believe it, I think that's when you can be kind of cutthroat. I'm a bit the same, but I still think you're a very loving and caring person. I think you don't just say to somebody because they have an opinion, you're not going to be friends with them anymore. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm not sure why I went on that tangent. Let me know down in the comments because I know someone will. We have this Five of Wands. Now, I think on the back end of that last message coming through, I kind of feel like Five of Wands, you challenge people with your opinions. I think you're viewed as somebody who makes people compete for your maybe your approval for some of you, but I think they try and compete against you to try and change your opinions, to try and correct your opinions, but you know what's right and wrong in your eyes. And I think you're not a person who goes into a debate or an argument with nothing in your back pocket to go, yeah, but I've seen this and I've seen that. I feel like you're very logical, very educated individuals. So I kind of think you are viewed as somebody where people want to fight you and challenge your beliefs, your knowledge, your way of life, right? I think you're very unique people, and I think people view you as somebody who has a lot of competition around you to try and get one up on you or try and beat you or be smarter than you. And it's very very conflicting, very combative energy is what I feel. Like you've got this guy, it's just a stick up there, but these people are fighting in the sand, there's music and stuff. So it's not super duper evil, kind of energy, but people view you as somebody that has a lot of people who want to try and challenge you. And they know why they want to challenge you is because I think you stand in a very diplomatic energy. I think you're very diplomatic, and I think you can always understand people's perspective or why they have the opinion that they have. But at the end of the day, I think you always walk away from conversations, pole 2, where you actually shift people's opinions and think, well, pole 2's right. Pole 2 came with better arguments than me. Pole 2, I don't think people realize your intelligence until they try and start challenging your knowledge is what I'm hearing with this Five of Wands. I think you could be viewed as somebody who brings out masculine testosterone kind of fighty energy among people. Now, the Five of Wands can also indicate that you have a lot of suitors, people view you as somebody who has a lot of suitors fighting for their love, fighting for their time and attention. We do have the Six of Wands here, which means people view you as somebody who's quite famous, quite popular, right? Somebody who's in the public eye. You definitely have a lot of eyes on you. And the interesting thing about the imagery on this card, the people that are all on the horses, isn't it weird? They all actually look like they are jockeys. Isn't that the weirdest thing? I didn't even realize they were jockeys. So that horse racing must... please tell me why I went on that tangent with you, because I just realized they're actually jockeys. And, he doesn't look all that happy, and all their heads are hanging low. None of them, it's an interesting Six of Wands. So can you really see that? It's kind of quite dark, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. Sorry. Let's see. Oh, yeah, you should be able to. It's just, yeah, you might be able to see it. Sorry. So if I do videos in the afternoon, they're not that, the morning light's not, the lighting's not that great. But yeah, that's so fucking weird. And they all like kind of got the, no, that's a horse's ear. Yeah, that's so weird. I had no idea that. I didn't even jerry on that they were jockeys. Let me know if somebody's gonna have something to say, but yeah, I don't know. You could be a jockey. Some of you could actually be a jockey, or you could have horses where you might do that Aquarian or something. How embarrassing. Oh, I don't know. It's like EQ. Oh, I'm not going to go there because I'll sound like a fuckwit. But you know, there's all different ways you can have horse hobbies, something along the lines of that. But there's definitely a reason why I went on that tangent about the jockeys, the Melbourne Cup. But yeah, the Six of Wands definitely tells me you're viewed as somebody that maybe always wins. And I think a lot of people get bitter about that, or at least they view you as somebody where they see people getting bitter. Like you're a person who always comes out on top, even if I don't want to say, I'm going to say even if you're, I'm not going to say you're in the wrong, but even if it puts other people in the wrong, I don't know. It's sort of like maybe you make people view you as somebody that corrects people's like choices in life. Like you call people out like in a way where you're not directing it at them, but you're saying statements that has this like domino effect on people where they're like forced to change their ways or forced to change their opinions, and not because they want to, it's because of whatever you've delivered to them, or whatever kind of message or statement you've delivered. They can't ignore it because it's facts and it's figures and it's like it's accurate is what I'm hearing. So you could be viewed as somebody that like ruins people's fun or ruins the parade or something like that. And then we've got old King of Cups sitting on a shark here, like very, I don't know. It's kind of, here's two fins. It's weird. But the message coming through, like we're talking about like horses here, but then we've got a person sitting on a shark. So you could be viewed as somebody who has strong opinions about certain things, but other opinions would counteract as if you were like, what's the word, contradicting yourself. And look, in this day and age, you cannot contradict yourself. Any opinion you've got, there'll be something else that you do that would say, well, but you do this and you do that and you wear this. So I kind of feel like you're being viewed as somebody that is fair and just because you don't put people down for opinions and beliefs or way of life. You just say what you feel is like, I don't think you say what you feel you need to. I think when people ask you about your life, you're like, this is why I do it, blah, blah, blah. But then there's other areas of your life where it might seem like contradictory, but I think you own that. Like, I think what people like about you is you are very, or how you're being viewed is, although you may contradict yourself, you are so emotionally balanced. You're fully aware about it. You acknowledge it. You like own it, your shit is what I'm hearing. Like, and I also feel like you're being viewed with this emotionally balanced energy as somebody who knows when they're in the wrong. You'll say, yeah, you know what? You're right. Like, I think people view you as somebody's like, you're able to, like, they're able to call you out on your own bullshit. They're able to call you a contradictor, like, if that's a word. But I kind of feel like a lot of people are very blessed to meet you because you make them realize it's okay to be wrong sometimes, or like wrong anytime. I think you're open to growth. I think you're open to learning. I think you're open to making better choices through being more well educated and having more knowledge. And I think people view you as somebody that reminds them that it's okay to change your opinion. It's okay to think one thing your whole life and then realize it's not the best thing to think and go a different path. I also get a very jovial energy here. I kind of feel like you're viewed as somebody who knows how to have a laugh. Like no one but a mermaid would probably be able to ride a shark, right? But maybe you are a mermaid, right? I just kind of think maybe you're very good at taming wild beasts here. And based off the energy of this reading, you probably come up against very argumentative people in life. You probably come up against people who've tried to change who you are. And you've always been able to put a reef over their mouth and tame a shark is how you're viewed. You're a person who can take maybe the biggest bully in the playground and turn them into your bitch, really, because of your emotional maturity. You have full control of your emotions, but you're also very logical as well here. So I think it's kind of a very interesting reading here. I think you guys are very cool, but I'm going to leave it there. Let me know if that resonated. Put a little beach symbol or a wave if you want to let me know if it resonated. Definitely get back to me on the horse thing. I'm very open to hearing what you have to say. But yeah, just to circle back to that initial messages, your spirit team are working double time in bringing these new abilities to light. So good luck with that. Keep your energy clean, and I will send all my love and light to you and hopefully receive some back. Until next time, bye. Pile 3, welcome to your reading. Those of you who chose wise action. We've got inner divinity, flow, and balance. Wise action. It's interesting, right? We have very dark imagery here at the top, and it's a fresh vibe at the bottom. So I don't know. I feel like it kind of gives me tower, moment energy, this darker energy at the top. And it does give me transformative vibes, right? So I don't know if some of you have come from the other pile where we talked about that. I can't remember if it was pile 1 or 2, but hey. So it could be a little bit of that energy coming through here. But I feel like maybe for a lot of you, you actually aren't aware of your true potential. Or maybe you've recently come to the knowing of what your true potential is. You have a lot of magical, maybe fae energy here as I'm picking up pixie dust is what I'm hearing. Maybe you've just realized you can sprinkle pixie dust everywhere, and it's sort of like the Midas touch. Everything you touch turns to gold, but here it's everything you touch turns to love with the color pink here. So you could be having a soul activation or a soul awakening, but a positive one. Meaning you're not going through a dark night of the soul, you're kind of going through a positive one. And there's something internally happening to you. There's something happening to you internally, it's changing you, right? And I think maybe it has something to do with you going or moving more freely with the universe, more flowy as opposed to being more rigid and routine based is what I'm hearing. And I think the more we flow with life, the more balance it gets. I think for a lot of you, you've probably come to the realization, if you try and control and hold on to things that don't want to be held on to or need to be controlled, how imbalanced you become, how imbalanced your whole world comes. Next minute you're always getting the red lights in the traffic, you're always dealing with psycho people on the road. Whereas I think for a lot of you, what you've realized, if you focus on inner healing, inner peace, everything around you just flows heaps easier, and there's so much more positive balance or well-balanced experiences that you experience. So I feel really cool, calm, collected. So I feel like there's been this shift. Maybe you were in that negative headspace. Every time you leave the house, you think, great, I'm going to be dealt with like fuckwits on the road, fuckwits at work. And I think what you've realized, if you can't control those people, all you can do is control how it makes you feel and what it does to your energy. And I think you've mastered that, right? I think you've really put in the work to know that if I focus on me internally and allow things to just flow naturally, more balanced, you have a more like stable or insecure or balanced experience when you're out in public. Something along the lines of that. And that's very wise action to take, right? It's very wise for people to take a step back and go, well, you know what? I can't control like the 7 people who are going to be psycho on the roads. All I can do is not allow it to ruin my day. And I think you guys mastered that. And you know what's recently happened that you've probably maybe only till now noticed that you're not dealing with that shit anymore, because you've like wise action would be, I'm not going to allow those people to affect my energy. And once you really truly mastered that, those people stop getting sent towards you by the universe, is sort of the vibe I'm picking up. But you have special powers, is what I'm hearing. You have special abilities that you've yet to really master. And maybe you're like a newborn spirit, so you could be very young in age, those who have picked this pile. Or maybe you're just brand new at tapping into your spiritual gifts, but they are very brand new. It's like fresh energy, fresh spiritual energy. So maybe you've recently activated a new spiritual gift if you've already been tapping into your spiritual abilities. I also feel you're trusting your inner knowledge, like a lot more, like you're in a dialogue. You could be talking to yourself a whole lot more as well. But your intuition is very strong, and it's very activated. So if that resonates, let's find out how you are currently being viewed. I'm not reading reversals. Seven of Swords. All right, so this over. We've got the Three of Swords. We've got a lot of swords. Quick shout out on your sign placements before we get into it. So we said Two of Swords, sorry, Three of Swords, Two of Swords, Knight of Cups, Justice or Justica, Seven of Swords. So obviously strong Libra energy with Justice. We've got air energy. So again, Libra, well, strong Libra with Justice. So and Aquarius, but we could throw Gemini in there on the basis of there being a lot of sword energy. Definitely Libra, because the Knight of Cups is Scorpio and Libra energy, but let's move on. What's going on here? It's very interesting, Three of Swords. So it's a plane. I know it's like a plane with like native like artwork or painting. Apologies if I'm explaining that wrong, but this is it could be a seaplane actually. What's that got to do with anything though? How are you being viewed? It's very like this seaplane kind of, it's not that it looks scary, but it doesn't look like what it's meant to look like. And when I think about the Three of Swords, it's a card that talks about, you know, somebody going through something or has gone through something, right? Take it as it resonates. So people could be viewing you as somebody that could have a bit of a wall up at the moment. I do see the Seven of Wands in my third eye. You know, maybe something like that Tower moment. Maybe people are viewing you as somebody, you've changed. Something pretty bad happened and it changed you. You look very different nowadays. Like you don't look like the person that you used to. And something obviously major, like quite catastrophic, happened to you that has completely shaped the way you think, the way you feel, and definitely the way you look. You don't look you look completely different is what I'm picking up with this Three of Swords. I kind of feel like for some of you, you know, when like some people go through like a divorce or a breakup, they get that breakup body, something along the lines of that. Like you look fire. You look very fierce. Like you're being viewed as somebody who's very fierce. Like you've gone to hell and back maybe 25,000 times, that you now have this very fierce energy. And I feel like Queen of Wands is sort of popping into my mind now. So it's like, you're smoking hot. Something very, very unfortunate happened to you, which actually worked for you in regards to your appearance, is what I'm hearing, or at least that's how people are viewing you. I also think people view you as somebody that you don't allow like trauma or like, you know, less fortunate situations to keep you stuck, right? Because planes are in the air, they're mobile, like they take us to destinations. I just kind of feel like this seaplane mixed with Three of Swords is like people view you as somebody that you don't allow like grief and sorrow to hold you back. Like you're a person that probably has good cause or like, you know, good reason to sit in a dark energy and tell everyone to like, you know, go die or whatever, like, but you don't, right? You have this very young, bubbly energy. I kind of feel like people view you as somebody that you shouldn't be as nice as you are. You shouldn't be as happy as you are. Like you should be a person who, you know, should be down in the dumps. Now that's kind of sadistic, that's what they think, but I don't think it's in a way of like, oh, you know, you shouldn't be out there being happy. And maybe it is. Maybe some of you have dealt with death or loss, right? And you're keeping it moving. You're like, okay, well, you know, John passed away, and like as sad as that is, like you understand that John doesn't want you to sit in that energy for the rest of your life. Like John would want you to go and keep living it and have fun for John, because John's on the other side cheering you on, right? That's the kind of vibe I'm picking up with this Three of Swords. You know shit's always going to come, but you keep it moving, like literally on a plane. Like you could be a person who relocates. Every time something bad happens, you're like, I'm out, I'm moving. And it's funny because we've got the Five of Cups here, and isn't that funny? She's smiling, like, you know, and I kind of feel like this is the message I'm trying to get at. It's like you could be experiencing a lot of disappointment, a lot of shit, a lot of grief and loss, but you still find a way to see the good in things, to find the silver lining and understand, like, you know, things aren't happening to you, they're happening for you. Or like, you know, when somebody's time's up in this realm, it's up. Like there's nothing, like sitting around crying about it for the rest of your life is not gonna bring them back, right? I think you're very rational. I think you're very grounded is what I'm hearing. So let's move on. Two of Swords. We've got a couple of people fencing. Is that what you call it? I feel like this gives me the vibe, like we've got a clock in the background, there's a building. People might view you as somebody that doesn't mind getting into you know, debates or arguments. Again, similar energy coming through from another pile, but you won't drag it out. Like you're a person who's like, you know what, I'll sit here and play a game and like have a bit of banter and argue back and forth, but like you're not going to do it all day long. You're a person who's a bit of a clock watcher, like you've always got somewhere to be. And I think you're kind of important people in your life. So you could have children relying on your time, you could have animals or a boss or like, you know, a tyrant boss. But I definitely feel like people are viewing you as somebody that doesn't mind, you know, having a bit of a heated argument. Like you don't mind being on the defense, something along the lines of that, but you won't spend all day trying to like, you know, sell ice to an Eskimo or something like that. I don't know if that makes sense. Now, other way we can consider the Two of Swords is like, it's a card that can talk about somebody being kind of indecisive, and when they're indecisive and in this outfit, you could get your back up when people are trying to like get you to do something that you're not really too sure. Like you'll, put your armor on and you'll fight until the tooth, I'm hearing, especially if you don't know whether to do something. So I feel like you're being viewed as somebody that won't jump into things that you're not 100% certain that it's worth your time, worth your energy, or is actually going to have a return on investment. So I think you guys are very money smart. I think you're very time smart at this time, or at least people view you as somebody who's quite studious. Like you're not going to rush in like a fool into situations thinking there's going to be this like mad return on investment without actually like having all the knowledge that you need to before making the decision. I think that's strong Libra energy. Libras are known, they can be very indecisive, but once they've made their mind up about something, that tends to stay because they've got all the information that they need in order to make that decision. So I just kind of think it's more to do with that, nothing like serious. We do have this Knight of Cups, so people might view you as somebody who's quite romantic, bit of a prince charmer here, or princess charmer. But we do have the girl on the horse in the back, and it kind of gives me the impression people might view you as somebody who's got a lot of lovers in the past who still swoon or pine for you. And that's because you're this very lovable, relaxed energy. Again, you're a person who goes with the flow. You really balance, maybe not always, but at this time, I think you're very focused on yourself right now. People might view you as somebody that isn't heavily invested in love or relationships. Like you're a person who's like focusing on filling your own cup, filling your own needs. Like the guy sitting on a log, like playing with a coconut, right? It's a really chilled energy. She's not necessarily looking at him in the back, but the horse is. So I don't know, maybe there's people in your past, like their family and their friends are like, what's pole 3 up to? Like, how come like things didn't work out? Have you tried to repair things? That's the kind of vibe. I think people view you as somebody that, people who had the opportunity to be with you, the people around them view you as somebody like the one who got away. Like, I actually think there's a lot of people in your past who wish you never left their life, and you left their life because you broke up with like their brother or their friend or something like that. That's sort of the vibe I'm picking up. But I definitely think, there are people, you are being viewed as somebody who has a lot of romantic attention around you, but you're oblivious to it as well, is also another way I perceive this illustration on the card. Like you're looking at other things in life. You're either looking at yourself or you're looking at your future. And I think you're being viewed as somebody who's like little to zero interest when it comes to love. Then we've got the Karma card here. We've got the Day of the Dead. You could be viewed as somebody, South American, obviously, or South American heritage, but cactuses are really prickly, right? Like they're pretty, but they're prickly, and it kind of ties back into that Two of Swords energy. Like she's naughty and nice is what I wanted to say, but it's sort of like there's good and evil in you. Again, like I feel like you're viewed as somebody that, you are a really good person, but there is also this very dark side to you. So it could be the fact that people view you as somebody who's like, pole 3 is really kind and caring, but if you cross the line with them, they'll fucking cut you out of their life. And I don't think you do things per se when you cut people out of their life, but I think you actually have people around you who have brought you tower moments, who they probably don't realize karma comes for them. Karma, like they probably didn't realize prior to crossing the line with you that karma would come for them the way it does. So I think you're being viewed as somebody who has a very strong relationship with karma, good karma and bad karma. And I think people view you as somebody who is a person who receives both good and bad karma. Like they've seen it, they've heard you endure it, like heard about you enduring it or watched you, right? But I definitely feel like a lot of your bad karma comes from other people who have to learn karma about like karma for themselves. So, you know, they come into your life, they fuck you over, and then bam, the universe steps in and like side rails these people, and that's when they're educated. Fuck, karma is real. And I think because you're very tapped into this energy, it really, well, I just think they get it worse, because some of you may actually manifest it for them and think, well, fuck you. I told you not to cross my line. You ran right over it or bulldozed right through it. So you're not afraid to fight. You're not afraid to inflict people's karma. At least this is how people view you. Like, you're all peace, love, and like happiness, but you're also like, I'm gonna fucking like get you kind of energy. That's how you are being viewed. Doesn't mean you are like this, and it doesn't matter if you are, but if you are, because I think you're well balanced, whether that resonates with you or it doesn't. Like, you are a well balanced person. You are fair. Like, if people come for you for no reason, people view you as somebody, well, you went for pole 3 and they weren't doing nothing to you. Like, you did that to them. Like, did you think they were just going to sit here and let you tip their scales and bring them in balance? No way. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're a force to be reckoned with, and I think people might view you as somebody who's kind of a bit scary. And funnily enough, we move to the 7 of Swords to close out your reading. You know, strategic. You only show people what you want to show them, is what they how they view you. Like, it's like, you show them you've got all of these, but you've always got stuff in your back pocket. And I understand these swords are on the ground, but I'm hearing in my back pocket. So people view you as somebody that you have a lot of secrets. You hold a lot of secrets for other people. I'm also hearing people view you as somebody who doesn't share everyone's secret. Like, you're actually like a bit of a vault is what I'm hearing. Like, everything people tell you, you store away. You don't bring it out. You don't use it to fight. Like, you might throw a couple of things out there and, like, you know, throw things out very, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Very like in an indirect way. You'd be like, you know, well, is like Susan's, I'm not going to give an analogy because we're over an hour. So, I'll keep it moving. But I feel like people view you as somebody who's very strategic. You don't show your cards at once. You show enough to keep people interested, but it's the ones that you're not showing that are the most like juiciest, or like the most like beneficial for you. Like, you might say, hey, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and this is going to be the return on investment, but the real return on investment is the stuff that you're not telling people about. So people definitely see you as somebody who's very secretive or strategic when it comes to information or withholding information. It could even be like, you know, even with your bosses at work, like, you tell them what they need to hear, you tell them what they want to hear, you don't tell them what they should be hearing, or something along the lines of that. I don't know if I'm explaining that. Like, you give them enough to like keep off your back. Like, you give them enough to keep things equal, like, or keep things balanced, something like that. I don't know. I also think people view you as somebody that knows a lot more than what you let on. Like, you know heaps more. And this could be quite a shock. Like, people may have thought that you didn't really know much. And then for others of you, people kind of view you as somebody like, you seem like you know much, but you probably don't. So you do have a lot of people kind of fooled around you. I think people don't really know. I think when you try and be like an open book to people, they think you're hiding it. And when you are hiding it, people think you are being an open book, something along the lines of that. But that's what I've got for you guys. What can you put a little airplane down in the comments if this resonated? Any information you want to share or chat about in the comments, please do. But yeah, sending all love and light to you from the universe to you. And I'll see you next time. Bye.